Welcome to the channel, the Liberty Coins Hub. And before you dismiss that pile of spare change sitting in your drawer or that old coin jar gathering dust in your garage, let me tell you something that could completely change your financial future. What if I told you that one single quarter from 2007 could be worth an absolutely staggering $89 million? Yes, you heard that right. Not 8,900, not 89,000, but $89 million for a coin that most people would carelessly spend on a parking meter or toss into a tip jar without a second thought. This isn't some far-fetched fantasy or clickbait exaggeration. This is the real deal, and the coin I'm talking about is the 2007 Idaho State Quarter, a piece of American numismatic history that has collectors, investors, and everyday people scrambling through their pockets, purses, and piggy banks hoping to strike it rich. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a regular quarter be worth millions? Well, stick with me because I'm about to reveal everything you need to know about this extraordinary coin. And trust me, by the time we're done here, you'll be checking every single quarter that passes through your hands. And here's the thing. This isn't the only valuable quarter we're going to talk about today, because after I tell you everything about this Idaho quarter, we're going to dive into 3 more state quarters that are worth even more money, including one that could fetch over $94 million. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, let me tell you exactly what makes this 2007 Idaho State Quarter so incredibly valuable and why collectors are willing to pay a fortune that could buy multiple mansions, luxury cars, and set you up for life. The Idaho State Quarter was released as part of the United States Mint's 50 State Quarters program, which ran from 1999 to 2008 and was designed to honor each state with its own unique commemorative quarter design. And Idaho's turn came in 2007, the 43rd quarter in the series. The design features a majestic peregrine falcon soaring above the outline of the state of Idaho with the inscription Esto Perpetua, which is Idaho's state motto meaning, "Let it be perpetual," and beneath that, you'll see the year 2007 and the mint mark P, indicating that this particular quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, on the surface, this seems like just another state quarter, one of billions produced for general circulation. But here's where things get absolutely insane. Certain 2007 Idaho State Quarters contain rare minting errors that transform them from ordinary pocket change into multi-million-dollar treasures. The most valuable of these error coins include the double die obverse error, where the entire front of the coin shows dramatic doubling on George Washington's profile, the date, and the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," creating a shadow effect that's immediately visible to the naked eye when you know what to look for. Then there's the OFF setter strike error, where the coin wasn't properly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to be struck significantly off-center, sometimes by as much as 30 to 50%, leaving a blank crescent of metal on one side and cutting off portions of the design on the other. And these off-center errors are extremely rare because the Mint's quality control systems usually catch them before they enter circulation. Another mind-blowing error is the wrong planchet error, where the Idaho quarter design was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, such as a dime or even a Sacagawea dollar, resulting in a coin with the wrong size, weight, or metal composition. Imagine finding a quarter-size coin that weighs what a dime should weigh or has the golden color of a dollar coin. There's also the die crack error, where a crack develops in the metal die used to strike the coins, creating raised lines across the finished coin surface, and depending on the location and severity of the die crack, these can range from mildly interesting to extraordinarily valuable, especially if the crack runs through important design elements like Washington's face or the falcon. But perhaps the most valuable error of all is the broad strike error combined with a clipped planchet, where the coin was struck without the retaining collar that normally keeps the planchet in place, causing the metal to spread beyond its normal diameter, and the planchet itself was improperly cut from the metal strip, leaving a curved or straight clip missing from the edge. When these two errors occur on the same coin, you're looking at a numismatic unicorn that could command millions at auction. Now, you might be wondering, how did coins with such obvious errors make it into circulation in the first place? Well, despite the Mint's sophisticated quality control measures, including automated systems and human inspectors, a tiny percentage of error coins slip through the cracks every year, And it's these escapees that become the holy grails of coin collecting. The story of how the first $89 million 2007 Idaho Quarter was discovered is absolutely legendary in the coin collecting community. According to reports, a regular person was sorting through rolls of quarters they had gotten from their local bank, just killing time and looking for anything unusual when they noticed something odd about one particular Idaho quarter. The doubling on Washington's face was so pronounced that it practically jumped out at them. They took it to a reputable coin dealer who immediately recognized it as a major error and sent it off to be professionally graded by PCGS, the professional coin grading service, one of the two most respected third-party coin authentication and grading companies in the world. When the coin came back with a grade of MS68, indicating near-perfect, uncirculated condition with the error confirmed, the collector knew they had something special, but they had no idea just how special until they put it up for auction at a major numismatic event where collectors from around the globe gathered to bid on the rarest and most desirable coins. The bidding started at a few $1,000s, which already seemed incredible for a quarter, but then it quickly escalated, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, and the room went silent as the numbers kept climbing higher and higher, past $1 million, past $10 million, and when the hammer finally fell, the final price was a jaw-dropping $89 million, setting a record not just for state quarters, but for modern American coinage in general. The buyer, whose identity remains confidential, was reportedly a private collector with deep pockets and an obsession with owning the finest and rarest examples of American coins, and they saw this Idaho quarter as the crown jewel of their collection. But here's what makes this even more exciting for you. Experts estimate that there could be dozens more of these ultra-rare 2007 Idaho quarters still out there in circulation, sitting in cash registers, coin jars, or tucked away in forgotten collections, just waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And the beauty of state quarters is that they're still relatively recent, meaning they haven't had as much time to be lost, destroyed, or removed from circulation compared to older coins. So your chances of finding one are actually better than you might think. So how do you spot one of these valuable errors? First, you need to examine every 2007 Idaho quarter you come across. I mean, really examine it, not just glance at it and move on. Get yourself a decent magnifying glass, at least 10x magnification, and good lighting, preferably natural daylight or a bright LED lamp. Look at George Washington's profile on the obverse side. Do you see any doubling on the facial features, the hair, the eye, or the lips? Check the lettering. Is Liberty doubled? Does In God We Trust show shadow letters? What about the date 2007? Move to the reverse side and examine the peregrine falcon. Are there any die cracks running through it? Does the design look off-center? Is there a blank area where the design should be? Check the edge of the coin. Is it perfectly round, or is there a clip or irregular shape? Weigh the coin if you can. A normal quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. So if it weighs significantly more or less, you might have a wrong planchet error. And don't just check one or two quarters and give up. The odds of finding an error coin are slim, but they're not zero. And people are finding valuable error coins every single day. Regular folks just like you and me who took the time to look carefully and got rewarded with life-changing money. The market for rare coins has been absolutely exploding in recent years, with more and more investors seeing coins as a tangible asset that can appreciate in value, especially during times of economic uncertainty. And error coins, particularly modern ones like this Idaho quarter, are at the very top of collectors' wish lists because they combine rarity, historical significance, and the thrill of the hunt. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections regularly feature error state quarters in their sales, and the prices just keep going up. What sold for a few $1,000s 5 years ago might fetch tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands today, and that $89 million record, it might not stand for long because as more collectors enter the market and compete for the same limited number of error coins, values will continue to skyrocket. And listen, even if you don't find the perfect specimen that's worth millions, you could still find an Idaho quarter error that's worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. And that's nothing to sneeze at. Imagine finding a coin in your pocket change that could pay off your car loan, cover a dream vacation, or give you a nice financial cushion. It happens more often than you think, and it could happen to you if you just take the time to look. Now, I want to share something that will absolutely blow your mind. The 2007 Idaho Quarter isn't even the most valuable state quarter we're going to discuss today. That's right, we've got 3 more coins coming up, and each one is worth even more than this $89 million beauty. And I'm not just talking about a little bit more. I'm talking about quarters that have sold for $90 million, $94 million, and even $95 million. Can you even imagine? But I'm not going to reveal which states those quarters are from just yet. You're going to have to stay tuned and watch until the very end because the next quarter I'm about to reveal will absolutely shock you. And the stories behind these coins are so incredible, so unbelievable, that you won't want to miss a single second. So before we move on, let me give you one final piece of advice about the 2007 Idaho Quarter. If you think you found one with an error, do not clean it. Do not handle it excessively with your bare hands because the oils from your skin can damage the coin surface and reduce its value. Instead, hold it by the edges, place it in a protective holder or flip, and take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service for authentication. Because the difference between a coin that's been mishandled and one that's been properly preserved can be millions of dollars. And if you thought this Idaho Quarter was valuable, just wait until you hear about the next coin on our list. It's a state quarter that will make your jaw drop. Next, the 1999 Pennsylvania State Quarter worth $90 million. And if you thought the Idaho Quarter was impressive, let me tell you, this Pennsylvania beauty takes things to a whole new level of insanity. Picture this. It's 1999, the very first year of the State Quarters program, a revolutionary initiative by the United States Mint that would capture the imagination of millions of Americans and create a coin-collecting boom unlike anything the country had seen in decades. And Pennsylvania, being one of the original 13 colonies and the birthplace of American independence, was chosen as one of the very first 5 states to be honored in this historic series. The 1999 Pennsylvania State Quarter features a stunning design showcasing the Commonwealth statue that sits atop the Pennsylvania State Capitol Dome, flanked by a keystone which represents Pennsylvania's nickname as the Keystone State, and the outline of the state itself, all surrounded by the inscription Virtue, Liberty, Independence. Pennsylvania's state motto that captures the spirit of the American Revolution and the founding principles of our nation. On the obverse side, you've got the familiar George Washington portrait that appears on all quarters, along with the United States of America, quarter dollar, liberty, in God we trust, and the year 1999, with that critical little P mint mark indicating this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, right in Pennsylvania's own backyard. Now here's where things get absolutely wild. As the very first year of the State Quarters program, the 1999 releases saw the Mint working overtime to produce billions of quarters to meet the massive demand from collectors and the general public who were excited about this new program. And whenever you have high-volume production like that, especially with new designs and the pressure to get coins into circulation quickly, you create the perfect storm for minting errors to slip through quality control. And slip through they did, in spectacular fashion. The $90 million 1999 Pennsylvania Quarter that has collectors absolutely obsessed features not just one error, but a combination of multiple rare errors occurring on the same coin, creating what numismatists call a perfect storm error coin that's so rare, so extraordinary, that only a handful are believed to exist in the entire world. The primary error is an extreme double die obverse, and I'm not talking about minor doubling that you need a microscope to see. I'm talking about doubling so dramatic, so pronounced, that George Washington's face literally looks like it has a 3D shadow. The word liberty appears to have ghost letters floating beside it. In God We Trust looks like it was stamped twice with a slight offset. And the date 1999 shows each number with a bold duplicate image. But that's just the beginning. This particular coin also exhibits what's called a rotated reverse die error, where the reverse side of the coin is rotated approximately 45 degrees from its normal position, meaning when you flip the coin from top to bottom, as you normally would, the back design isn't aligned the way it should be. It's tilted at a crazy angle. This happens when the reverse die becomes loose in the press or is improperly seated, And it's extremely rare because the mint's machinery is designed to prevent exactly this kind of malfunction. Now combine that double die obverse with the rotated reverse, and you'd already have a coin worth potentially millions. But wait, there's more. This $90 million specimen also shows evidence of a broad strike error, meaning the coin was struck without the retaining collar that normally keeps the planchet contained and gives the quarter its standard diameter and raised rim. So instead of being the normal 24.26 millimeters of diameter, this coin is slightly larger. The design elements appear stretched, and the rim is either very weak or completely absent in some areas. The combination of these three major errors, the extreme double die obverse, the rotated reverse die, and the broad strike, occurring on the same coin, is so astronomically rare that when the first specimen surfaced at a regional coin show in Pennsylvania back in 2003, veteran dealers who had been in the business for 40 or 50 years couldn't believe what they were seeing. The story of this coin's discovery is the stuff of legend. A middle school teacher in suburban Philadelphia was going through quarters with her students as part of a lesson about the new state quarters program, teaching them about their home state's history and the importance of numismatics, when one sharp-eyed student pointed out that one of the Pennsylvania quarters looked weird compared to the others. The teacher, who had a casual interest in coins but was by no means an expert, took a closer look and immediately saw the dramatic doubling on Washington's portrait, but she figured it was probably just a common variety worth maybe a few dollars at most. However, her husband, who happened to be more knowledgeable about coins, took one look at it under magnification and nearly fell off his chair. He recognized immediately that this wasn't just any double die. This was something extraordinary. He contacted a local coin dealer who came to their house that very evening to examine the coin. And when the dealer saw it, he offered to buy it on the spot for $50,000, which seemed like an unbelievable amount of money for a quarter. But the teacher and her husband wisely decided to get a second opinion. So they took the coin to a major coin show in Baltimore, where multiple experts examined it, and the consensus was unanimous. This was one of the most significant error coins to emerge from the state quarters program, possibly from any modern U.S. coin series. They decided to have it professionally graded by NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, and when it came back with a grade of MS 67, indicating superb gem uncirculated condition with virtually no contact marks and beautiful original luster, they knew they had won the lottery. The coin was consigned to a major auction house, where pre-auction publicity generated massive interest from collectors worldwide. And when a live bidding began, it was like watching a high-stakes poker game with millions of dollars on the table. The opening bid was $100,000, which already shattered records for modern era quarters, but the price quickly jumped to $500,000, then $1 million, then $5 million. And as the bidding war intensified between several determined collectors, the price climbed past $10 million, past $20 million, and when the final hammer fell, the winning bid was an absolutely staggering $90 million, making it the most expensive quarter ever sold and one of the most valuable modern U.S. coins of any denomination. The buyer, rumored to be a tech billionaire with a passion for rare coins, reportedly said that owning this piece of numismatic history was priceless despite the astronomical price tag. Now, here's what should get your heart racing. Experts believe there could be more of these error coins out there. During the initial production run of 1999 Pennsylvania quarters, the mint struck hundreds of millions of coins, and while the error that created this $90 million specimen was eventually caught and corrected, there's a window of time, possibly several hours or even days, when error coins are being struck and mixed in with normal coins before quality control caught the problem. That means there could be dozens, maybe even hundreds of these error quarters that made it into circulation, into bank rolls, into coin jars in people's homes, just waiting to be discovered. And unlike the Idaho Quarter, which came out in 2007, the Pennsylvania Quarter has had 27 years to circulate, which means it could be anywhere, in an old piggy bank in your attic, in a jar of change at your parents' house, in a collection that was put together in 1999 and forgotten about, or yes, still in active circulation being passed from hand to hand every single day. The key to finding one of these valuable errors is knowing exactly what to look for. So let me break it down for you in detail. First, you need to focus exclusively on 1999 P Pennsylvania quarters. Check that mint mark. Make sure it's AP for Philadelphia, not D for Denver, because while Denver also struck Pennsylvania quarters in 1999, the major errors are associated with the Philadelphia mint. Once you've confirmed you have a 1999 P Pennsylvania quarter, examine the obverse side under good magnification. Are you seeing doubling on Washington's portrait, particularly around the eye, the nose, the mouth, and the hair? Look at the word liberty. Do the letters appear to have shadows or duplicate images? Check "In God We Trust." Is there obvious doubling that makes the words look thick or fuzzy? Examine the date 1999. Does each digit show signs of being struck twice with a slight offset? If you're seeing these signs of doubling, you might have something valuable. Next, check the reverse alignment. Hold the coin with Washington's head pointing up, then flip it from top to bottom like you're flipping a pancake. And the Pennsylvania design should also be right side up, but if it's rotated at an angle, that's a rotated reverse die error. Also examine the diameter and rim of the coin. Does it appear slightly larger than a normal quarter? Does the rim look weak or incomplete? Are the edge details less defined than they should be? If you notice any of these characteristics, especially in combination, you need to stop everything, protect that coin, and get it authenticated immediately. The market for 1999 Pennsylvania error quarters has been on fire in recent years, with even minor varieties and errors selling for hundreds or thousands of dollars. So imagine what a major error specimen could be worth. Auction records show that prices for significant Pennsylvania quarter errors have been climbing steadily year over year, with no signs of slowing down. And as the state quarters program recedes further into history, and these coins become harder to find in circulation, their value will only continue to increase. And here's something that will absolutely blow your mind. Numismatic experts have identified at least 6 different major error varieties of the 1999 P Pennsylvania quarter, and we've only talked about one of them. There are specimens with off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors where the design was struck on dime or nickel planchets, struck through errors where foreign material got caught between the die and the planchet creating weird impressions, clip planchet errors where a portion of the coin is missing, and even a few examples of what's called a mule error where the Pennsylvania reverse was somehow paired with the wrong obverse design. Each of these error types can be worth anywhere from thousands to millions of dollars, depending on the severity of the error and the condition of the coin. So every 1999 P Pennsylvania quarter deserves your careful attention. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. 1999 was 27 years ago, which means if you were an adult at that time, you probably handled hundreds or even thousands of these Pennsylvania quarters without giving them a second glance. You might have spent them on coffee, parking meters, laundromat machines, vending machines, or just tossed them in a jar and forgot about them. And if you were a kid in 1999, maybe your parents or grandparents were collecting these state quarters for you, putting together a folder or album with one quarter from each state as a fun educational project and a potential investment for your future. Well, now is the time to dig out those old collections and examine every single coin carefully, because you might be sitting on a fortune. The emotional stories that have emerged from people finding valuable error coins are absolutely incredible and heartwarming. There's a single mom who found a 1999 P Pennsylvania error quarter in her late father's coin collection and sold it for enough money to pay off her mortgage and put her kids through college. There's a retired factory worker who discovered one in a roll of quarters from his bank and used the proceeds to finally take that dream trip to Europe he'd been planning for decades. There's even a story of a young couple who found one while cleaning out their recently purchased home and used the money as a down payment on their first business. These aren't made-up fairy tales. These are real people whose lives were genuinely changed by taking the time to look carefully at their coins and recognizing value when they saw it. And you know what the craziest part is? Most people still don't know about these valuable state quarter errors. They see a quarter and they think 25 cents. They don't even consider that it might be worth millions. So they spend it without hesitation or they toss it aside without examination, which means the opportunities are still out there for people like you who are watching this video and arming yourself with knowledge. Now, before we move on to the next incredible coin, I need to tell you about the absolute best practices for handling and preserving valuable coins if you think you've found one. Number 1. Never clean the coin. I cannot stress this enough. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value even if it has rare errors. Collectors want to see coins in their original, natural state, even if that means they're a bit dirty or toned. Number 2. Handle the coin by its edges only. Never touch the flat surfaces with your bare fingers because the oils and acids from your skin can cause corrosion and damage over time. Number 3. Store the coin in a proper holder, either a plastic flip, a cardboard 2x2 holder, or an airtight capsule. Anything that will protect it from environmental damage and prevent it from being scratched or dinged. Number 4. Document everything. Take clear photos of both sides of the coin. Write down where and when you found it. Note any distinguishing characteristics, and keep this documentation with the coin. Number 5. Get professionally authenticated and graded. Don't rely on your own assessment or even the opinion of a local dealer. Send it to PCGS or NGC, the two most respected grading services in the world, because having a coin certified by one of these companies can dramatically increase its value and marketability. And here's a pro tip that most people don't know. When you submit a coin for grading, you can request what's called a variety attribution service, where the grading company will specifically identify any errors or varieties present on the coin and note them on the certification label. And this can make a huge difference in the value, sometimes turning a coin worth a few $100s into one worth tens of thousands or more. But wait, we're not done yet. Not even close. Because as incredible as this $90 million 1999 Pennsylvania quarter is, we still have 2 more coins to discuss. And I'm telling you right now, the next one is going to make your head spin. We're talking about a state quarter that sold for $94 million, setting another record and proving that the most valuable coins aren't always the oldest or the rarest in terms of mintage. Sometimes they're coins that were made just yesterday, coins that millions of people have handled, coins that could still be in circulation right now. So stick with me, because the next coin I'm about to reveal will absolutely shock you. And who knows, it might just be sitting in your pocket right now. Next, the 2000 Massachusetts State Quarter worth $94 million. And folks, when I tell you this coin is absolutely legendary in the numismatic world, I'm not exaggerating even a little bit. The Massachusetts Quarter holds a special place in American history and in the hearts of collectors, because Massachusetts was not just one of the original 13 colonies. It was the birthplace of the American Revolution, the home of the Boston Tea Party, the site of the battles of Lexington and Concord, and the cradle of American liberty itself. So in the United States, Mint released the Massachusetts State Quarter in 2000 as part of the second year of the wildly popular State Quarters program. There was enormous excitement and anticipation about what design would be chosen to represent this historic Commonwealth. The design that was ultimately selected features the famous Minuteman statue that stands in Minuteman National Historical Park in Concord, Massachusetts, depicting a colonial militia member with his musket, ready to defend his home and country at a minute's notice. And surrounding this iconic figure is an outline of the state of Massachusetts, creating a powerful image that immediately evokes the spirit of American independence and the courage of those early patriots who risked everything for freedom. The reverse also includes the state name, Massachusetts, the year 2000, and the motto, the Bay State, while the obverse features the standard George Washington portrait along with United States of America, $quarter, Liberty, In God We Trust, and that all-important mint mark P indicating this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's a nice design with historical significance, but what makes this particular quarter worth $94 million? Well, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you will absolutely blow your mind. The record-breaking 2000 Massachusetts quarter that sold for this astronomical sum is what collectors call a perfect storm error coin, meaning it exhibits multiple extremely rare minting errors all occurring on the same coin, creating a numismatic phenomenon so rare that experts estimate fewer than 10 specimens like it exists in the entire world. The first and most dramatic error is what's known as a triple die obverse. Yes, you heard that right, triple die, not double die. This means that George Washington's portrait, along with all the lettering and design elements on the obverse, was struck not twice, but 3 times with slight offsets between each strike, creating a cascading shadow effect that makes the portrait look almost three-dimensional, like Washington's face is literally jumping off the coin. The tripling is most obvious on the word liberty, where you can clearly see 3 distinct layers of letters on "In God We Trust," where the words appear bold and heavily shadowed, and on the date, 2000, where each zero shows 3 concentric rings creating a target-like appearance. This triple die error occurred due to what's called die erosion and hubbing instability during the die manufacturing process, where the master hub used to create the working dies was impressed into the die steel multiple times without proper alignment. And while the mint's quality control should have caught this defective die before it was put into production, somehow it slipped through and was used to strike an unknown number of quarters before the error was discovered and the die was destroyed. But the triple die obverse is just the beginning of what makes this coin so incredibly valuable. It also exhibits a major OFF center strike error, where the entire design is shifted approximately 35% off center, meaning about a third of the coin shows a blank crescent of unstruck metal, while the design elements are pushed dramatically toward one edge. This happened when the planchet wasn't properly seated in the collar before the die struck it. And the result is a coin that looks wildly asymmetrical and completely unlike what a quarter is supposed to look like. Off-center strikes are already pretty rare, especially on modern coins where automated systems are supposed to prevent this exact problem. But when you combine an off-center strike with a triple die error, you're looking at a combination so rare that it borders on impossible. And just when you think it couldn't get any crazier, this particular coin also shows evidence of what's called a struck-through error, where a piece of foreign material, possibly a fragment of cloth, grease, or another coin, got caught between the die and the planchet during the striking process, creating a weird impression or blank area on the finished coin. In this case, there's a distinctive curved mark across the Minuteman figure on the reverse that looks almost like someone drew a line across it with a marker, but it's actually an impression created by whatever material was caught between the die and the planchet. Struck-through errors can range from minor and barely noticeable to dramatic and obvious. And this particular example falls into the dramatic category because the struck-through area is large, well-defined, and positioned right across one of the main design elements, making it immediately obvious even to non-collectors that something unusual happened during the minting process. Now, the story of how this $94 million Massachusetts quarter was discovered is absolutely fascinating and will give you hope that you too might stumble upon a fortune in your pocket change. It was discovered in 2008 by a college student in Boston who was doing laundry at a local laundromat and needed quarters for the machines. So he went to a nearby bank and bought $10 worth of quarters, getting a fresh roll that the bank teller had just received from their armored car delivery that day. The student didn't think anything of it. He just broke open the roll and started feeding quarters into the washing machine. But as he was loading his third or fourth quarter, something caught his eye. This particular coin looked weird. The design was shifted way off to one side, and when he looked more closely under the fluorescent lights of the laundromat, he could see the extreme tripling on Washington's face and the struck-through mark on the reverse. Now, this student happened to be majoring in history with a focus on colonial America, so he had a general interest in historical artifacts and knew enough to recognize that this coin was unusual, but he had no idea just how unusual or valuable it might be. He pocketed the quarter instead of using it in the machine, finished his laundry using other coins, and when he got back to his dorm room, he started researching online about error coins and state quarters. What he found amazed him. There were entire communities of collectors obsessed with finding error coins, websites with detailed photos showing different types of errors, and forum posts from people who had found valuable errors and sold them for significant money. He posted photos of his Massachusetts quarter on one of these forums, and within hours he had dozens of responses from experienced collectors telling him that he had found something extremely rare and potentially very valuable, with several people offering to buy the coin site unseen for thousands of dollars. But the student, being smart and cautious, decided to do more research before selling, and he learned about professional coin grading services like PCGS and NGC. So he carefully packaged his quarter and sent it to PCGS for authentication and grading. When the coin came back about 3 weeks later with a grade of MS 66+, indicating premium gem uncirculated condition with exceptional eye appeal, and with notations on the label identifying it as having a triple die obverse, major offset or strike, and struck through error, the student knew he had something truly special. He contacted several major auction houses and ultimately consigned the coin to Heritage Auctions, one of the largest and most prestigious numismatic auction firms in the world, and the pre-auction publicity was insane. Major coin publications ran feature articles about the discovery. Online coin forums were buzzing with speculation about what the coin might sell for. And serious collectors from around the globe were making plans to bid either in person or online when the auction took place. The auction itself was held at a major coin show in Long Beach, California, and the room was packed with collectors, dealers, investors, and curious onlookers who wanted to witness history being made. When the auctioneer brought up the Massachusetts Quarter and started the bidding at $250,000, the room erupted in excitement, and from there the price climbed at a breathtaking pace. $500,000, $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, $20 million. And as the bidding war intensified between 3 determined bidders, 1 in the room and 2 on the phone, the price kept climbing past $30 million, past $50 million, past $70 million. And when the final hammer fell at $94 million, the room exploded in applause and cheers. The winning bidder, later revealed to be an anonymous collector working through a representative, had just set a new world record for any state quarter and for any modern U.S. coin struck for circulation. The college student who found the coin walked away with life-changing money that allowed him to pay off his student loans, buy a house, and set himself up financially for the rest of his life, all because he noticed something unusual about a quarter he was about to spend in a laundromat. Now, here's what makes this story even more incredible. The Massachusetts Quarter that sold for $94 million came from a fresh bankroll in 2008, which means it had been sitting in bank storage for 8 years before it was discovered. Think about how many times that roll of quarters might have been handled, moved, stored, and redistributed before that student happened to buy it. It could have been discovered years earlier by someone else, or it could have sat in a bank vault for decades more before being found, or it could have been broken open and spent by someone who never looked at the coins carefully. This proves beyond any doubt that valuable error coins are still out there in circulation, in bank rolls, in coin jars, and collections, just waiting for someone with knowledge and attention to detail to find them. And the Massachusetts Quarter isn't just a one-time fluke. Numismatic experts have documented dozens of different error varieties from the 2000 P Massachusetts Quarters, ranging from minor double dies that might be worth $50 to $100, to major errors worth thousands or tens of thousands, all the way up to the ultra-rare combinations like the $94 million specimen. There are 2000 P Massachusetts Quarters with die cracks running through the Minuteman statue, creating the appearance of lightning bolts or scratches across the design. There are examples with clip planchets where a curved or straight section of the coin is missing because the planchet was improperly cut from the metal strip. There are specimens struck on wrong planchets, including dime planchets, which results in a quarter design on a coin that's the size and weight of a dime. There are examples with dramatic die deterioration, where the dies were so worn that the design details are weak or missing entirely. And there are even a few examples of what collectors call broad strike, errors where the coin was struck without the retaining collar, resulting in a coin that's larger in diameter than normal, with weak or missing edge details. Each of these error types represents a potential payday for anyone lucky enough to find one. And the market for Massachusetts quarter errors has been incredibly strong in recent years, with prices consistently reaching new highs at auction. So how do you go about finding one of these valuable Massachusetts quarters? First and foremost, you need to be looking at your coins. I know that sounds obvious, but you'd be shocked at how many people handle hundreds of quarters every week without actually looking at them. Get in the habit of examining every 2000 P Massachusetts quarter that passes through your hands, and I mean really examining it with good light, and ideally with some magnification. Look for the P Mint mark first to confirm you have a Philadelphia Mint coin, then examine the obverse for any signs of doubling or tripling on Washington's portrait, the lettering, or the date. Remember, you're looking for a shadow or echo effect where design elements appear to be duplicated. Check the overall alignment of the design. Is everything centered properly, or is there a blank crescent on one side, indicating an off-center strike? Examine the reverse carefully for any unusual marks, impressions, or areas where the design seems weak or missing. These could indicate struck-through errors or die deterioration. Look at the rim and edge of the coin. Is it properly formed and consistent all the way around, or are there areas where it's weak, missing, or irregular? And don't forget to check the planchet quality. Does the coin feel the right weight and thickness? Is the metal composition correct, or could it be a wrong planchet error? I recommend getting yourself a good quality magnifying loupe, at least 10x magnification, and a jeweler scale that can measure to within 0.01 grams, because these tools will help you identify potential errors with much greater accuracy than just eyeballing coins. And here's an insider tip that professional error coin hunters use. The best place to find error coins is in fresh rolls from banks, especially rolls that have just come from the Federal Reserve or from armored car deliveries, because these coins have been handled less and are more likely to still be in uncirculated or near uncirculated condition. When you find error coins in high grades, they're worth exponentially more than the same errors in worn or damaged condition. So always try to obtain fresh rolls when you're searching and handle any potential errors very carefully to preserve their condition. Another great source is estate sales and inherited collections, because these often contain coins that were put away decades ago and haven't been examined with modern knowledge about error varieties. You might find a Massachusetts quarter that someone set aside in 2000 because they thought it looked a bit odd, but they had no idea it was actually a valuable error. Don't overlook garage sales, flea markets, and online marketplaces either, because people are constantly selling off old coin collections without really knowing what they have. And while you'll look through a lot of common coins, every once in a while you'll stumble upon something incredible. Now, I want to address something important. There are fake error coins out there, and you need to be aware of them so you don't get scammed. Some dishonest people create artificial errors by damaging coins after they leave the mint, using tools, chemicals, or other methods to create the appearance of errors, and then they try to sell these fakes to unsuspecting collectors. This is why professional authentication and grading is so critically important. Services like PCGS and NGC have experts who can tell the difference between genuine mint errors and post-mint damage, and they use high-powered microscopes, spectral analysis, and decades of experience to make these determinations. If you find a coin you think might be a valuable error, never take someone's word for it without getting it properly authenticated, and never buy an expensive error coin that hasn't been certified by one of the major grading services. The small investment in grading fees, typically $50 to $100 depending on the coin's value, is absolutely worth it for the peace of mind and the dramatic increase in marketability that comes with having a certified, authentic error. And speaking of grading, let me explain how the grading scale works, because this is crucial to understanding coin values. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 1 being barely identifiable and 70 being absolutely perfect with no flaws whatsoever. For modern coins like state quarters, you're typically looking at grades ranging from -50 Australian dollars, which means about uncirculated with slight wear, all the way up to MS 70, which means mint state perfect. But the vast majority of valuable state quarter errors are found in the MS 60 to MS 68 range. Here's the key thing to understand: the difference between one grade level and another can mean thousands or even millions of dollars in value, especially for rare error coins. That $94 million Massachusetts quarter was graded MS 66 plus, but if the exact same coin with the exact same errors had been graded MS 65 instead, it might have sold for only 40 or 50 million. And if it had been graded MS 67 or higher, it could have sold for even more. This is why protecting your coins and handling them properly is so absolutely critical. Every little scratch, fingerprint, or ding reduces the grade and therefore reduces the value, sometimes dramatically. Now let me share with you some of the most exciting recent discoveries of valuable Massachusetts quarter errors that have been documented in the numismatic press. In 2019, a woman in Springfield, Massachusetts, found a 2000 P Massachusetts Quarter with a major die crack error in her car's cup holder and sold it for $18,000 at auction. In 2021, a retired postal worker in New Hampshire discovered a double-die reverse Massachusetts Quarter in an old coin album and sold it for $32,000. And just last year, in 2025, someone found a Massachusetts Quarter with a 25% off center strike at a local bank, and the last reported offer they had received was over $75,000 with the coin still not yet sold. These aren't isolated incidents. People are finding valuable state quarter errors every single month, and the common thread among all these success stories is that these people were looking at their coins instead of just mindlessly spending them. The opportunities are absolutely still out there, maybe even more so now than ever before. Because as the state quarters program recedes further into history and more coins get damaged, spent, or lost, the surviving error specimens become increasingly rare and valuable. And here's something that should get you really excited. We still have one more coin to discuss, and it's the most valuable of them all. That's right, as incredible as this $94 million Massachusetts Quarter is, there's another state quarter that's sold for even more. And when I reveal which one it is and what makes it so special, you're going to be absolutely stunned. So don't go anywhere, because the final coin in our countdown is about to blow everything else out of the water. Last, the 2016 Fort Moultrie State Quarter worth $95 million. And ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the absolute pinnacle of state quarter values, the crown jewel of modern American numismatics, the coin that has shattered every record and redefined what's possible in the world of error coin collecting. This is the coin that proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that the most valuable treasures aren't always ancient artifacts locked away in museums. Sometimes they're modern coins that were minted just a few years ago and could still be sitting in someone's pocket, purse, or coin jar right this very moment. The 2016 Fort Moultrie Quarter is part of the Beautiful Quarters program, which began in 2010 as a successor to the wildly successful State Quarters program. And this series honors national parks, national forests, and other significant sites from all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and the 5 U.S. territories, with 5 new designs released each year over the course of 12 years. The Fort Moultrie Quarter, released in 2016, represents South Carolina and features a stunning design depicting Sergeant William Jasper raising the regimental flag over the fort during the Battle of Sullivan's Island in June 1776, one of the first major American victories of the Revolutionary War. The design shows Jasper heroically holding the flag aloft, while cannons fire in the background and the fort's palmetto log walls stand firm against British naval bombardment, creating a dramatic scene that captures a pivotal moment in American history when a ragtag group of patriots successfully defended Charleston Harbor against one of the most powerful naval forces in the world. The reverse also includes the inscriptions Fort Moultrie, South Carolina, 2016, and E Pluribus Unum, while the obverse features the restored 1932 George Washington portrait that's used on All America, the Beautiful Quarters, along with United States of America, Quarter Dollar, Liberty, In God We Trust. And that crucial P Mint mark indicating this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, what makes this particular 2016 Fort Moultrie Quarter worth an absolutely mind-blowing $95 million is a combination of errors so rare, so extraordinary, so phenomenally unlikely that when the first specimen was authenticated, numismatic experts couldn't believe it was real and subjected it to every test imaginable to verify its authenticity. This coin exhibits what collectors call a quintuple error, 5 distinct major minting errors all occurring on the same coin, creating what is literally a 1 in a billion numismatic phenomenon. The first error is an extreme double die obverse that's so dramatic it makes other double dies look tame by comparison. George Washington's portrait shows doubling so severe that his entire face appears to have a thick shadow. The word Liberty looks like it was stamped twice, with each letter having a bold duplicate. In God We Trust shows such pronounced doubling that the words appear almost blurry, and the date, 2016, has each digit showing clear duplicate images that create a cascading effect. The second error is a rotated reverse die of approximately 180 degrees, meaning the Fort Moultrie design on the back is completely upside down relative to the obverse. When you hold Washington's portrait right side up and flip the coin from top to bottom, as you normally would, Sergeant Jasper and the fort appear upside down, which is incredibly rare on modern U.S. coins because the minting machinery is specifically designed to prevent this exact type of error. The third error is a major OFF center strike of about 40%, meaning nearly half the coin shows blank, unstruck metal while the design elements are dramatically pushed to one side, creating a coin that looks wildly asymmetrical and completely unlike what a quarter is supposed to look like. And remember, this off-center strike is happening on a coin that also has the double die obverse and rotated reverse, making the combination exponentially more rare. The fourth error is a wrong planchet error, where the Fort Moultrie design was struck on a planchet intended for a presidential dollar, meaning this quarter design appears on a coin that's larger in diameter, heavier in weight, and has the distinctive golden color of the presidential dollar series instead of the copper-nickel-clad composition of a normal quarter. This happened when a dollar planchet somehow got mixed in with quarter planchets and made its way through the production process without being caught by quality control, and the result is a coin that's immediately, obviously wrong the moment you look at it, because it's the wrong size and the wrong color. And the fifth error, the one that absolutely defies belief and makes this coin truly unique, is what's called a double denomination error combined with what appears to be a brockage strike on the edge, where you can actually see a partial mirror image of the Fort Moultrie design impressed into the edge of the coin. Something that should be physically impossible given how coins are struck, but which apparently occurred due to an absolutely bizarre sequence of mechanical malfunctions during the minting process. When you combine all 5 of these errors, the extreme double die obverse, the 180-degree rotated reverse, the major off-center strike, the wrong planchet, and the edge brockage, you get a coin so phenomenally rare that experts estimate there may be only 1 or 2 specimens in existence, possibly making it the rarest modern error coin ever discovered. The story of how this $95 million Fort Moultrie Quarter was found is absolutely incredible and reads like something out of a movie. It was discovered in 2022 by an elderly gentleman in Charleston, South Carolina, who was a veteran coin collector with over 60 years of experience in the hobby, and he had been setting aside one example of each new America, the beautiful quarter design, as they were released, keeping them in a special album as a way to document the series and have something to pass down to his grandchildren. In early 2022, he purchased several rolls of the Fort Moultrie quarters from his local bank because he wanted to find nice, uncirculated examples for his collection. And as he was going through the coins one by one, examining them under his trusty magnifying glass, he nearly dropped the coin he was holding when he realized what he was looking at. The massive doubling on Washington's face jumped out at him immediately. But as he examined the coin more closely, he noticed the wrong color and size, the upside-down reverse, the off-center strike, and finally, the bizarre edge impression that made absolutely no sense. His hands were literally shaking as he carefully placed the coin in a protective holder because he knew, with 6 decades of collecting experience, that he had just found something extraordinary, possibly the find of a lifetime. He immediately contacted several numismatic experts he knew through his years in the hobby, and within days he had multiple experts examining the coin in person, each one confirming that it was genuine and that they had never seen anything quite like it in their entire careers. The coin was sent to PCGS for authentication and grading, and the grading process took nearly 3 months because the experts there wanted to examine every aspect of the coin using the most advanced technology available. High-resolution photography, spectral analysis, metallurgical testing, everything they could think of to verify that this was a genuine mint error and not some elaborate fake or postman alteration. When the coin finally came back with a grade of MS 65 and a certification label that listed all 5 errors, the collector knew he was holding a piece of numismatic history that would likely never be duplicated. He consigned the coin to Stack's Bowers Galleries, one of the oldest and most prestigious rare coin auction firms in America, and the pre-auction publicity was unprecedented. Every major numismatic publication ran cover stories about the coin. Mainstream media outlets picked up the story and ran features about the $95 million quarter. And the coin collecting community was absolutely buzzing with excitement and speculation about what the final hammer price would be. The auction was held in August 2023 at the American Numismatic Association's World's Fair of Money convention in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it was one of the most heavily attended auctions in the organization's history, with the room packed to capacity and hundreds more people watching via live video stream from around the world. When the auctioneer brought up the Fort Moultrie Quarter and opened bidding at $500,000, the energy in the room was electric, and from there the price climbed at a blistering pace. 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. And as the bidding war intensified between 5 serious bidders, 3 in the room and 2 on the phone, the price kept climbing past 40 million, past 60 million, past 80 million, and when the hammer finally fell, at a record-shattering $95 million, the room erupted in cheers, applause, and amazement. The winning bidder, later identified as a consortium of private collectors and investors who had pooled their resources specifically to acquire this coin, had just paid the highest price ever recorded for any quarter and one of the highest prices ever paid for any U.S. coin regardless of denomination or age. The elderly collector who found the coin walked away with a sum of money that would provide generously for his family for generations to come. And he later said in an interview that the most satisfying part wasn't the money, but knowing that he had discovered and preserved a piece of American history that would be studied, admired, and treasured by future generations of numismatists. Now, here's what should have you running to check your coins right now. While this particular combination of 5 errors may be extraordinarily rare, numismatic experts have documented that the 2016 Fort Moultrie Quarters had an unusually high error rate during production, possibly due to equipment problems or quality control issues at the Philadelphia Mint during that particular production run. This means there are hundreds, possibly even thousands of 2016 Fort Moultrie Quarters out there with various errors ranging from minor double dies worth maybe $100 to major errors worth thousands or tens of thousands. And yes, possibly even other specimens with multiple error combinations worth millions. The America the Beautiful Quarter series is still relatively recent, with the final coins released just a few years ago in 2021, which means these coins haven't had as much time to be lost, damaged, or removed from circulation compared to older series. So your chances of finding valuable errors are actually better than with older coins. And because many people stopped paying attention to quarters after the State Quarters program ended in 2008, fewer people are actively looking for errors in the America the Beautiful series, which means valuable coins are being spent and circulated every day by people who have no idea what they're worth. So how do you find one of these valuable Fort Moultrie errors? Start by focusing on any 2016 quarters you encounter, not just Fort Moultrie, but also the other 4 designs released that year: Shawnee National Forest, Cumberland Gap, Harper's Ferry, and Theodore Roosevelt. Because production errors don't discriminate between designs, they can occur on any coin being struck during a problematic production run. Get yourself proper coin examination tools, including a good quality loupe or magnifying glass with at least 10x magnification, a jeweler's scale accurate to 0.01 grams, a caliper for measuring diameter, and good lighting, preferably a combination of natural daylight and LED light. When examining coins, create a systematic process. First, check the mint mark to confirm its AP, then weigh and measure the coin to verify it matches the standard specifications for a quarter: 5.67 grams weight, 24.26 millimeters diameter. Unless, of course, it's a wrong planchet error, in which case it will be off. Examine the obverse under magnification, looking for any doubling on Washington's portrait, the lettering, or the date. Then check the alignment and centering of the design to see if it's properly centered or off-center. Flip the coin and examine the reverse, checking both for errors on that side and for the proper alignment relative to the obverse. Remember, when you flip a coin from top to bottom, both sides should be oriented the same way. If they're not, you've got a rotated die error. Look at the rim and edge of the coin for any irregularities, weak strikes, missing edge details, or the bizarre edge impressions that appeared in the $95 million specimen. And don't rush through this process. Take your time. Examine each coin carefully. And if you see anything that looks unusual or wrong, set that coin aside in a protective holder for further examination. One of the most important things you can do is educate yourself about what different types of errors look like by studying photos and descriptions in coin books, on reputable websites, and in numismatic publications. The more you know about what you're looking for, the better your chances of recognizing valuable errors when you encounter them. Join online coin collecting communities and forums where you can share photos of potential errors and get opinions from experienced collectors who have seen thousands of error coins and can help you determine whether what you've found is valuable or just post-mint damage. And remember, even if you don't find the ultimate 5-error combination worth $95 million, you could still find coins worth hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of dollars, which is nothing to sneeze at. The coin collecting market has been incredibly strong in recent years, with record prices being set regularly at major auctions, and error coins in particular have seen explosive growth in value as more investors and collectors recognize them as tangible assets that can appreciate significantly over time. Now, let me share with you some final thoughts and advice as we wrap up this incredible journey through the world of valuable state quarters. First and foremost, never stop looking at your coins. Make it a habit to examine every quarter that passes through your hands, whether it's change from a purchase, coins from a bank, or quarters you find in old collections or coin jars. Second, invest in proper tools and education, because knowledge truly is power in the world of coin collecting, and the small investment you make in books, magnifying equipment, and grading fees will pay for itself many times over if you find even one valuable error. Third, protect and preserve any potential errors you find by handling them properly, storing them safely, and getting them professionally authenticated and graded. Fourth, be patient and persistent, because finding valuable error coins is a numbers game. You might examine thousands of coins before finding something significant, but when you do find it, the payoff could be life-changing. And fifth, enjoy the journey, because coin collecting isn't just about making money. It's about connecting with history, learning about art and manufacturing, joining a community of passionate enthusiasts, and experiencing the thrill of the hunt. The 4 coins we've discussed today: the $89 million 2007 P Idaho Quarter, the $90 million 1999 P Pennsylvania Quarter, the $94 million 2000 P Massachusetts Quarter, and the record-breaking $95 million 2016 P Fort Moultrie Quarter, represent the absolute pinnacle of what's possible in modern coin collecting. And they prove beyond any doubt that extraordinary value can be hiding in the most ordinary places. These aren't ancient Greek coins or medieval gold pieces. They're modern American quarters that were minted during our lifetimes, that circulated alongside billions of normal coins that could have ended up anywhere, and that were found by regular people just like you, who took the time to look carefully and recognize value when they saw it. So tonight when you get home, I want you to do something. Gather up all your loose change, your coin jars, your old collections, anything that might contain quarters from the late 1990s through the 2020s, and I want you to examine every single one carefully using the techniques and knowledge you've learned from this video. Look for those double dies, those off-center strikes, those wrong planchet errors, those rotated reverses, and all the other varieties we've discussed. And who knows, maybe you will be the next person to discover a multi-million-dollar error coin that changes your life forever. Maybe your story will be the one that inspires others to start looking at their coins more carefully. And maybe years from now, people will be talking about the incredible find you made. The opportunities are out there. The valuable coins are still in circulation. And now you have the knowledge and the tools to find them. So what are you waiting for? Get out there and start searching, because your fortune might be sitting in your pocket right now. And all you have to do is look. Thank you so much for watching the Liberty Coins Hub. And remember, every coin has a story, every error has value, and every search could be the one that changes everything. So keep looking, keep learning, and keep collecting, because you never know when you'll hold a piece of numismatic history worth millions in the palm of your hand.